CTV News at 5 with Tony Ryma and Rick Wyman with weather.
Good evening. Thanks for being with us on this Thursday. Greater Sudbury police have recovered more than $73,000 in stolen goods after a break-and-enter October 4th. Police were called to a residence in the south end of the city where thieves broke in and stole electronics and jewelry. The break, enter, and robbery or bear unit investigated and executed a search warrant at the suspect's home, finding the stolen items. 2 people were arrested in connection to the break-in. A 26-year-old has been charged with 5 theft-related charges, and an 18-year-old has been charged with possession of stolen property. Well, more sunshine on this Thursday. So, are we in the clear? For more details, let's go to CTV's Rick Wyman.
Not so fast, Tony. Almost there, but not so fast. Our first take on weather. We'll check out the systems map brought to you by CAA. Get your membership today. Get CAA.ca. We've got some shower and flurry activity. That translates into sleet, Tony, for this evening across the northeast. Almost there. Some nicer weather coming up on the weekend. But again, we'll take a look at that and more. 5-day forecast. So once we get through this, we've got 5, maybe 6 days of, well, we won't have precipitation in the forecast because, needless to say, we have had enough. Tony, back to you.
How true. Thanks so much, Rick. Some stores say that shoplifting has been happening more often in the city of Greater Sudbury. CTV's Madison Merrier reports.
According to the Greater Sudbury Police Services, shoplifting reports have almost doubled from over 1,100 incidents last year on their online reporting system.
Unfortunately, a lot of these crimes are crimes of opportunity, and they also are related to socioeconomics, addiction, mental health. So we do our best to identify and arrest these individuals and hope that the courts hold them accountable.
Talking to a lot of the businesses in the neighborhood, they're experiencing it as well. It's tough times for people out there, but you know, theft is theft, and I don't think that is something that they should be resorting to, especially when in the community there are resources for food and clothing.
Fabili continued saying that the theft from the charity shop is growing more alarming for her and her volunteers, and that people stealing cannot be stereotyped together.
What we're noticing is lots of the shoplifters have become more brazen and more aggressive. You know, we ask that bags are left at the front counter for everybody, but some of our shoplifters come in, load up their arms full of clothing, and will literally just walk out the store.
That is what loss prevention is for. So they do try to detain an individual who they've witnessed commit a shop theft. However, if a person becomes aggressive or violent in that nature, we ask that you just let them go. We are going to follow up on the incident and investigate it.
GSPS says that many shoplifters are repeat offenders, oftentimes at different stores, but some will shoplift from the same store multiple times.
If there is a finding of guilt, so for example, they take it to trial, they run the trial, they lose the trial, the lowest you can get is a discharge, right? The maximum, technically speaking, the maximum penalty on a theft under $5,000 is going to be 2 years less a day.
However, Pillay said that in cases of theft under $5,000, time served is left to the judge's discretion based on individual circumstances. Madison Merrier, CTV News, Sudbury.
Layoffs are coming to the North Bay Regional Health Centre as part of restructuring and changes at the hospital to deal with a budget deficit. Parking is going up and also changes to how some services are accessed. CTV's Eric Tashner now with more details.
The hospital says major changes are coming over the next 6 months in order to meet budget requirements. 40 full-time and part-time positions will be cut. While those jobs are being eliminated, the hospital says actual layoffs could be much lower when retirement and attrition are factored in, as well as the fact 14 new positions are being created.
You've got the hospital pretending that these cuts will have no impact on patient care, and we say that's hogwash.
The hospital is trying to find savings of $5.6 million, writing, "We have done everything in our power to meet our financial target and find savings equal to 2% of our budget."
Their actual costs are more in the neighborhood of 5%.
The hospital is also reducing the number of physician leadership roles starting January 1st. This is a reduction of 20% with no change in doctor numbers. The parking rate is also increasing starting in January. The one-time exit pass will be increasing by $1.25 to $7.25. The hospital adds it is not unique when facing complex challenges, including operational pressures, financial constraints, and an increased demand for services.
The Ford government can't escape its responsibility to provide funding so that hospitals like the North Bay Regional Health Centre can provide the care that they need to.
The hospital says it's working with the provincial government to find both funding and operational solutions to create an innovative and sustainable future for its patients. Eric Tashner, CTV News, North Bay.
It's time for a quick break. Coming up on CTV News at 5, Rick has your full weather forecast. But first, let's head to downtown Timmins. This webcam is courtesy of the city of Timmins. It's chilly, 3 degrees. We will be back in a few minutes.
Here we are, it's almost weekend time, and we've got some sunshine in the forecast, so stick around and get the details momentarily. But first, we've got to deal with some sleet, some snow, some shower activities in northeastern Ontario. Kapuskasing, Timmins, Chapleau, Temiskaming Shores, and Sudbury as well being affected right now. That system is moving out slowly. You can see by 3 o'clock tomorrow morning, it'll siphon out of the area eventually, but again, we'll have some remnants, some traces over the course of tomorrow, maybe even into Saturday. So again, some sleet in the forecast. Now your 5-day forecast numbers. Sudbury, Nickel Belt, chance of showers for tomorrow at 6 on Saturday, sun and cloud, sunshine Sunday 8 on Monday, sunshine, and Tuesday 8 degrees with sunny skies. Some cooler nights, but of course it is the end of October. Sault Ste. Marie, Algoma, chance of showers at 8, sun and cloud. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, the temperatures 8, 11, 10, and 9. Even at night, not too bad. 3, 2, and back up to 3 on Tuesday. Timmins, Cochrane, Kapuskasing, some interesting activity here. Flurry shower mix tomorrow at 4. 3 degrees on Saturday, chance of sleet. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, we've got sunshine all 3 days, 7, 8, and 7. But your overnight lows, -3, -2, and -1. So again, cooling off at this time of the year at night. Temiskaming Shores, Kirkland Lake, chance of sleet tomorrow at 40%, 5 degrees your high. Cloud cover Saturday at 4. Here we go. Sunshine Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 6, 7, and 7. Overnight lows -2, -3. So you'll get through that. Trust me, it'll get a lot colder coming up in December and January. North Bay, West Nipissing. Here we go. Chance of sleet at 30% for tomorrow. 7 degrees your expected high. Some cloud cover Saturday at 5. 6 on Sunday with the sunshine. Monday, 7 degrees with the sunshine. And Tuesday, we've got 8 degrees with the sunshine. So someone had just mentioned it's getting kind of cold outside. It's not getting cold in northeastern Ontario. It's getting chilly. December, January, February. That's when it starts to get cold. So, Tony, I think we're going to be out of the woods very shortly here in terms of precipitation. Better weather is coming your way.
Thanks for that, Rick. Earlier this month, the city of Greater Sudbury announced plans to expand and centralize services for the homeless. As CTV's Angela Gemmel tells us, the news has been concerning for businesses near the site.
There are less than a dozen businesses in this part of the city, some overlooking the encampment where hundreds live in tents.
We're trying to make it work for everyone in this case here.
The city councillor for this area calls the change a balancing act between helping the vulnerable while also reassuring businesses their livelihood won't be impacted, as this site will be a 24-hour social services hub.
There'll be safety, there'll be security, so it's not going to be carte blanche. It's going to be it's transitional. So we want to help the vulnerable, but we also want to understand the needs of the business owners that are surrounding the area.
Several of the businesses CTV reached out to declined to comment. Speaking off camera, one owner says the cost of having the encampment nearby has translated into a need for security, repairs following vandalism, a loss of customers, and damage to their business's reputation.
They understand the need for services to help out the individuals that need those services, but they just want to make sure that it doesn't affect their businesses.
The impacted businesses are just outside the boundary covered by the downtown Sudbury Business Improvement Area, which has had its own challenges with the vulnerable population. It calls the Go Give project the right partner for the expanded services.
By relocating a lot of the services to one area, sort of a one-stop shop for the vulnerable to access, I think is the right move. Whether Energy Court is that long-term solution, I mean, I can't comment. But again, I think that's all levels of government will have to come together to look at what that is.
Given the concerns circulating, a rep with the Go Give project plans to reach out to reassure the nearby businesses. The 24/7 warming center and extra support at Energy Court will start November 1st and run until the end of April. Angela Gemmell, CTV News, Sudbury.
As we told you yesterday, the Interfor mill in Gogama is temporarily shutting down. The facility is expected to be idle for the next 2 weeks. The union representing the mill workers, United Steelworkers Local 12010, confirmed the shutdown today. While union representatives were not available for an interview, they told CTV News the closure is due to economic uncertainty stemming from tariffs. They add that some workers will be brought back after the 2 weeks, as shifts are reduced from 2 to 1. In an email to CTV News yesterday, Interfor said it's making temporary adjustments to its lumber production plans in the fourth quarter. Meanwhile, in Timmins Shores, jobs will soon be available. Funding for the first cobalt sulfate refinery has been confirmed. Electra Battery Materials says $82 million U.S. in capital has been secured from senior levels of government and $20 million from the U.S. Department of Defense. Currently, 94% of refined cobalt coming into North America is from China. Once operational, the new refinery will produce 6,500 tons of battery-grade cobalt sulfate per year, enough to support domestic production of up to 1 million electric vehicles. The new facility will also create 50 new jobs. Construction will start next year, with operations starting in 2027. Quilts for Survivors coming up on CTV News at 5. A not-for-profit group marks a milestone by honoring a residential school survivor. Since Sault Ste. Marie was rocked by a tragedy stemming from intimate partner violence. Angie Sweeney was among 4 people who were murdered on this date in 2023. Today, the second annual Voices Against Violence rally took place. CTV's Corey Nordstrom was there.
Survivors should never have to repeat their trauma multiple times to be heard.
The second annual Voices Against Violence rally serves as a way to turn grief into action.
I think it gives us purpose and hope on a day that would be daunting and, really hard for all of us individually and collectively as a family.
Exactly 2 years ago, Angie Sweeney was one of 4 people murdered in a case of intimate partner violence that shook Sault Ste. Marie to its core. Angie's Angels was then formed, and many in the city have looked at ways to prevent a similar tragedy, including city police. An IPV unit now follows up with those who call in cases of domestic abuse.
We've done almost 1,200 callbacks to this point. We've had initiated over 40 new occurrences and laid 10 new charges. So I do believe our officers are asking the right questions at the time.
I think it was a catalyst for the conversations. It was a catalyst for change. A lot of great things have come from that, but the fight is just beginning.
As of now, 106 of the 444 Ontario municipalities have declared intimate partner violence an epidemic. While organizers say that is a start, they want much more change from upper levels of government to reduce the number of incidents of femicide and domestic violence.
I think tougher bail, tougher sentencing for repeat offenders, I think is really important, kind of at a federal level. At a provincial level, I want to see IPV declared an epidemic.
I think a lot of the work has honestly been done, especially from the Renfrew inquest with the 86 recommendations that came from it. I would just like to see some of those recommendations be implemented.
Angie Sweeney's father, Brian, also hopes to start a province-wide tour next year to raise awareness on intimate partner violence. Corey Nordstrom, CTV News, Sault Ste. Marie.
Quilts for Survivors is marking a milestone today. The organization donates hand-sewn quilts to people who've survived residential schools, day schools, and other colonial traumas. That story from CTV's Lydia Chubak.
Alberta.
This quilt marks a historic milestone for Quilts for Survivors. It will be the 8,000th time the not-for-profit group has honored a residential school survivor. Quilts for Survivors launched in June 2021, and the original goal was to deliver 215 quilts to First Nations communities. This one is going to a woman in Siksika, Alberta.
Now 8,000 and still going. I don't even know how to put into words how I feel. I'm very, very blessed.
As support for the endeavor grows, Genier vows to pair more quilts with people who request them, regardless of where they live.
Maybe this time next year we'll be at 10,000, but we're just going to keep making them until people stop asking for them. We're going to try to get every living survivor, whether they're day school, residential school, 60 scoops, or other traumas, everyone's going to get one.
A councillor representing Missinaba Cree First Nation, Genier's home community, says the quilts help recipients feel less alone.
I never even heard about residential schooling until once the government made their apology. It was never spoken of in my side of the family. So once the apology was made, then I'm like, what? I had to do my investigations, ask the elders and find out exactly what happened.
Quilts for Survivors mails out 5 quilts a day and says to meet its goals, volunteers are always needed. It's trying to attain new equipment and is looking for an investment partner to help it buy a new long arm machine. Lydia Chubak, CTV News, South Porcupine.
Marymount Academy in Sudbury is celebrating the end of a great golf season. Grade 12 student Elliot Boyles was captain of the women's team this year and led the Regals to a second-place finish at the city finals. Boyles claimed top spot at both city and NASA before going to OFSA last week. Boyles placed 31st overall out of almost 130 golfers at the provincial tournament. GFL Memorial Gardens was a busy place last night as the Sioux Greyhounds played host to the Erie Otters, and it was a fairly uneventful first period with the Hounds getting on the board first in the dying few minutes.
Now Smith, drop pass, low, scores! A short-handed goal for the Greyhounds.
The shorthanded goal going to Noah Laws, but that wouldn't last long. In less than a minute, Erie would respond. The Otters would end up scoring 4 more times before they were done. Jordan Charon, the only other Hound to get on the board. The Greyhounds fall to visiting Erie 5-2. The federal government has introduced a financial crimes agency. When we return, we dig deeper into this topic in our Tech Talk segment. You're watching First at 5.
Pure Country 91.7 wants to send you to Sandals South Coast in Jamaica. We're giving away an all-inclusive Caribbean vacation for 2 every weekday. Listen for your chance to win. Pure Country Passport with Sandals Resorts. Get closer to the Caribbean.
The federal government has announced plans to create a new financial crimes agency to tackle online scams. To tell us more about that and other tech news, let's bring in Ritesh Kotak, cybersecurity and tech analyst. Hi there, Ritesh.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing well. Give us some insight into the new financial crimes agency.
So we don't have a lot of details around how it's going to operate and where it's going to sit, but it is pretty clear that there's been a disconnect between the different agencies when it comes to addressing financial crimes, given the complexity and all the different stakeholders. You have banks, you have enforcement agencies, you have other organizations, you have individual victims. So I think by having a central agency with the proper authorities, the power, a change in legislation, we might actually be able to make a dent in some of these frauds and scams, especially online scams. So it's one thing to identify who's behind the scams, but hopefully this might be a solution to try to make people whole, where they might even be able to A, stop the scam, and B, potentially get some funds back.
And scam artists are always trying new ways to take our money. What advice do you have for people if they get a call from someone pretending to be from your bank? We are seeing more of those spam and also scam calls.
Yeah, the scam calls are just through the roof right now. I got a few just before just before coming on air. So it's just continuing, and they're getting much more sophisticated. So what I tell people is, if someone calls and pretends or claims to be a member of a financial institution like a bank or even the police as well, do one thing. Take their information and hang up the phone and call back from getting the number from a source. So if someone's claiming to be the bank, take out your bank card, look on the back, call that number. Someone's claiming to be a police officer. What you want to do then is call the police station and ask to be transferred to that police officer. It's kind of these very simple steps that can prevent some of these scams from happening in the first place. And the other big tip, if someone claims to be a loved one, I always recommend families have a secret phrase that they use. If you don't use a phrase, don't provide any information.
Good idea. Ritesh, OpenAI, the maker of ChatGPT, has released a browser in an attempt to rival Google. What are your initial thoughts?
So my initial thoughts is this might be a major shakeup when it comes to browsers. We've had 3 major browsers that have dominated the industry, but now this is a new way of computing, a new way of browsing. So think about it this way. You go online and you search for a hotel. Well, now you also have an agent on the side that would not only book the hotel, but tell you about restaurants that are close by, potentially get you reservations to shows, tell you the best way you could transport, whether it's public transit or taking a taxi to that location. Before, you'd have to go and do multiple steps. Now it's all going to be integrated. You essentially have your own agent.
Ritesh, appreciate your time this evening. Thanks again.
Thank you so much for having me.
Ritesh Kotak joined us from Toronto, and to see more of our Tech Talk segments, head to our website, CTVNewsNorthernOntario.ca. Our first community close-up takes us to North Bay. Yesterday, the city celebrated its National Award for Communities in Bloom. North Bay won bronze for a community with a population over 50,000. What better way to celebrate than with a cake? Congratulations. Let's head to South Porcupine, a neighborhood in Timmins. Joanne Bougie is calling these trash pandas. 3 of them were in her backyard eating seeds. Great photos, Joanne. And we are heading to Manitoulin Island. This close-up of a squirrel was taken by Cindy Van Volkenberg near Otter Lake. The critter was at her bird feeder. Great shot there, Cindy. And there's more news for the North coming up at 6 o'clock. For now, continue watching as we hand things over to CTV National News.